But yeah, no, I journaled right when we were like starting to move in.
You still keeping it up?
Yeah, that's what we're going to dive into a little bit about. I haven't written journaled in a while.
Do you do like a digital journal?
Tippity typing, yeah. I do. There's a little notes database I have on my Notion, in my daily planner spot. I just like press this plus button and a new page with the template pops up and it's like, what is your daily highlight? And then nightly reflection afterwards. And basically how I journal is, I got this from Ali Abdaal, who got it from Jake Knapp, and I forget the other guy's name, from the book Make Time. Mm-hmm. Good book. Got like halfway through it, and I was supposed to do a podcast review on it by myself, and then we started doing this together, so I kind of like skirted away from listening to it. Also, the audiobook that I was listening to got deleted. So that's how
physical reading.
That's how that goes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no, so I basically write down, the daily highlight is, you write for yourself at the beginning of the day, what do you want to achieve today? Like, what's going to be your daily highlight? What's the one thing you really want to do? It's going to make your day. And I do that. And the titles for I'm going to pull up my notes. I feel like it'll be funny to find like what the titles are.
Oh man, I wish I brought my journal now.
I mean, sorry.
No.
No.
It's all in the mental chamber. Oh,
As you can see, I've missed a few days in a row, but I do go on streaks of like, do you see like these titles? Productivity City. keeping on.
Hashtag grinding.
Get your mojo back on track.
That's exciting.
Kill the interview. Run and research. Have a big day.
I like this.
Yeah, and then you go through and it's like, this is a secret. We can't talk about this one. Chance and I have a secret about how to be more productive. It's like one of those things where one day I'll just make a video and it's gonna like require you to sign up for something for money, and I'll get you on my email list. Yeah, it's a secret. What's a good one? I feel like
exclusive content.
There's one called hashtag grinding, and the daily highlight honestly is, I just wanted to get all my work done, so I wrote, keep your head down and work on what matters most.
See, then I guess I imagine the nightly reflection. I guess getting back to my first point that I was thinking about when you said this is that I feel like a nightly reflection is a prompt where it's super stream of consciousness, which is one style of journaling I enjoy doing, where you're just kind of like letting the thoughts flow from the day. And I think with typing, it's probably a little bit better, just because I'll sit there and write and it's like, I can think way faster than I can write.
Yeah.
But when you're typing, I mean, at least for you, like you can type pretty fast.
I'd say I type at like 80% of my stream of consciousness.
Right.
It's like so that speed. Yeah, it's a little slower.
That's nice because you're just kind of flowing like everything that happened through the day. Mm-hmm. But with the daily highlight, I pictured it to be much more concrete, but it's kind of motivational here.
Yeah, I think maybe that's for me. I think the daily highlight can be like, for example, finish this project. And then when you finish this project, maybe your task for the day is like finish project, but your daily highlight can be, it's going to be a really hard day. It's going to be a day where you do have to do a lot of work. For me, I'm a workaholic sometimes. So like that is my highlight. Mm-hmm. But let's say, for example, for this person, they know they have to grind all day. Their daily highlight could be watching New Girl at the end of the day.
Right.
Which is perfect, I think, in a lot of people's worlds. And that's okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, looking forward to the reward. So, you got to push through the work. Isn't that one of the triggers of flow?
Yeah, true. And my reflection for this portion is, for the most part, I ended up doing pretty well with a lot of work I needed to get done. I started doing my B-roll voice. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. That was weird.
Sorry, people. I'm going to keep doing it. It's funny. Sadly, I felt like the school is not very motivating for me at the moment. But that has always come and gone in my life. Great work on the blog posts and such, though. I wrote a lot in the past few days. That's all that's my journal. That's what it looks like when I do it.
I do like when you make that switch to the B-roll voice. It's like you could do an audiobook.
Oh, dude, I almost did an audiobook for my eBook. I just have been bad about getting around to it.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. You should really sit down and do that.
10 steps to saving time and doing more. I've thought about voiceover work before.
Yeah, I mean, you have the deep tone for it. You could definitely do that. Like this. I bet your parents say you have a great voice for radio.
What is it, like an old person joke? What was that?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Your parents ever said that to you?
They said I have a good they have said I have a good like
Face for radio.
face for.
Oh, now you
Wow.
got it. You've never heard that?
I've heard the face for radio. I thought you said voice first, but then I realized you were roasting me, and I tried to play it off because this is going to be on the internet, but it's fine. I've made nose jokes, I think, on the channel already, so we're good.
Oh God.
Oh God. But yeah, that's my reflection.
Yeah, I like that. I guess my question for you is, I think a lot of people value the freshness of your mind when you wake up, and they say that that's the time for original content creation and stuff like that. I think for me, journaling is much more a space for me to write down original thoughts, either from, I don't know, whether it be like philosophical or just like spiritual or like insights on my own life and like where I want to go in the future. So it's a lot more original content, but for you, it seems like you're just kind of motivating yourself to go forward. And then at the end of the day, doing your much more hearty reflection. So I guess my question is, in the morning, do you feel like you should be like switching these? Do you feel like you journal better in the morning, or do you feel like you're just fine at the end of the day? Because personally, I experience burnout.
Yeah,
trying to
I
journal in the
understand
evening.
that completely. And that's probably why, if you look through a lot of these, my nightly reflection portion is actually not filled out. Oh, I picked, that was luck. More luck. Okay, that's just a title. Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of these where it just shows my daily highlight, and then I do burn out and I end up not reflecting.
Right.
So I do understand that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Like I feel like for me, and it's not always how it happens, but when I do reflect in the evening, I feel as though, like I said, I'm just a little burnt out. Like I've just taken in so much content between reading and other tasks that I've had to fulfill for the day. Like my nightly reflection, instead of it being written for me, is usually just like a personal meditation. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I was reading a book. It was like 180 steps to 180 on the LSAT. One of the first steps, just like a general thing, was like, if you want to improve your memory, you should have a meditation session where you just try to remember every event of the day with 2 specific details. And I guess it's not really, I don't know, that's much more suspending judgment over the day, whereas you're saying like, I did this well, I did that poorly. So I don't know. It's just interesting how, for me, I think that I would definitely want to be doing my big creative journaling in the morning. But for you, it seems like the nature of your journaling is much more, let's keep myself accountable and on task for the other creative venues I do.
Yeah. I feel like that's a fair observation. Quick question. So that was you said 180 steps to getting 180 on the LSAT.
Yeah.
Funny book title, but I think, from that perspective of that book, I know there was something I learned in AP Psych back in the day. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. The study could have changed, but there's something about thinking about something right before you sleep, whether it be a study material, or whatever it is, and then just falling asleep right after. You retain that so much better. I don't know if you've heard this.
I mean, I've heard. Now, I guess the thing that I always understand is that if you're studying for an exam, it's the more nights you sit on that material, the better. But I guess I never thought about thinking about it right before I go to bed.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is some conscious, or not subconscious, but unconscious. Are you gonna dream about it? Process it in your dream a little harder.
A lot of the emotions and thoughts that you have going into your sleep, if you do manage to dream, end up being what you're thinking beforehand. So I don't know if you thought about what sleep really is. It's the compilation of the different memories and stuff that you've had, right? And the different exposures of things, and that's kind of what makes dreams sometimes. And it's your body's rest, recovery, and compiling of what just happened.
Right.
So they found in education science that if you study right before you fall asleep, you're going to retain what you just read right before you fall asleep very well, because your body is going to reconnect everything while you're sleeping. And since that was the most recent thing, it's going to like bind it even stronger to your mind, which I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, I guess that is pretty good to kind of regurgitate what you were processing throughout the day in a nightly reflection then, because it's kind of like, a second dose of that information. It's like, oh, what did I read today? I read this and I did that. And it's like, it's going to reaffirm that you're going to process that information well.
Yeah. So then going into your question of like, or just your acknowledgement of how I'm doing my reflection, I do feel like it's beneficial in the sense that I am acknowledging what I did well and not right before I go to bed, using that same sort of logic. So the last thing I do before I go to bed, and what my brain's going to immediately try to recover with and process, is what I could improve on. Now that's just some extrapolation of a concept right there, but I'm hoping that's what it does.
Right.
But I think emotionally, your stream of conscious diary sort of situation, which a lot of people talk about in there, they're so happy with. And I feel like people who diary or journal, when people are younger, they call it a diary. It's like, the majority of girls I ever talked to, honestly, when I was younger, did diary. And I don't know, maybe they're just more in touch with their emotions, because when they go right to bed afterwards, they're just like compiling processing that information better than me, who just like does more work to kind of like avoid like thoughts of things sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I guess those were my two next questions for you. Is that one, do you ever get, I guess I'll just go one at a time, but do you ever get like big like content or just like conceptual breakthroughs in your journaling? Or is this a lot more just kind of reckoning with what you've already consumed?
Yeah, so it's not that often when I do the typing version that it happens. Now, when I've written down and I did the 30-day challenge, I did get some pretty good ideas, I feel like, in the written version. Honestly, most of my ideas, there's such a... Have you ever seen Up?
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah, I've seen Up.
Yeah. It's funny because I just featured on Danny Hatcher's stream, and he talks about how he has what's called a squirrel session. He calls his brainstorming squirrel sessions, which is very funny and accurate. A lot of my big ideas come in the most ridiculous times. Like, I am in the middle of using the bathroom. Squirrel.
Yeah.
I am taking a shower. That's a common one for people. Squirrel. I am eating a peanut butter sandwich at our table, and a roommate says something, and I go, oh, and I get an idea for something.
Yeah, I get that pretty often. I think that's like the big reason why I journal, and that's why I kind of wanted to direct it towards the morning things, is because I feel like you have that freshness and ability to really sit with something just really deeply. And I guess it's also interesting how you said that you had a lot more profound thoughts when you were writing, just because there's definitely something to slowing down and like really sitting with that concept before you just, riddle away whatever words you're going to put.
Yeah, there is no world, I feel like, outside of that space where you're writing on paper. I feel like when you're typing it out, there is a sense of like distraction. There's a sense of other things are existing. But when you're just writing down, and like that weird sort of intimate connection between the pen, you, and the paper, it's odd what happens, and how much I feel like I've maybe lost that through digitizing the majority of my productive workflow and such.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I guess my other question was, do you use journaling for any kind of, I don't know, therapy, spiritual reflection, or as a form of meditation?
At big junctures and situations in my life, I will find myself writing things down.
That's kind of how I feel.
It's not like if a big negative thing's happening and I don't want to talk about it too much verbally, I feel like the next closest thing would be to write it down.
Yeah, I would agree. That is interesting. It's always like the super like grave or just like monumentous events where it's like, I need to write this down.
If you want to see this episode or any other episode of the Rise Productive Podcast, make sure to go and check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else that you can find podcasts today.